channel. India are on the verge of their first series defeat in home in almost a decade at the hands of New Zealand. At the end of day two, New Zealand are in a commanding position, the lead of almost 300 runs, and still they have 5 wickets in hand. And India are staring at the brink of defeat. It is only a matter of time that India lose their first Test series at home in almost a decade. And it's mainly due to some very ordinary display of batting. Like I said in the morning, in 1.5 sessions, not even a full session, India were bowled out for 156 runs. It is absolutely unbecoming of them to get bowled out for so less on that surface. Because as the Kiwis were batting, things became clearer and clearer that the pitch had nothing in it. Not only did they dominate the Indian bowling, they made it look absolutely easy batting on that pitch. Not one Kiwi batter looked in any sort of trouble. They were scoring runs at ease. In Indian conditions, the spinners are supposed to dominate, but the New Zealanders didn't allow them to bowl a single maiden over. That was mainly due to the fact that they had a 100 runs lead, but still, the intent was important. They carried that momentum into the second innings as well. And both Ravichandran Ashwin and Ravindra Jadeja for the first time in quite some time looked relatively flat. The only bowler that looked very good was Washington Sundar. Just like in the first innings, he was the main architect. He picked up 4 wickets, and he was the main reason why India got some wickets in the match. Well, other than that, they had a pretty flat day throughout, and New Zealand are very much on top and are the favorites to win the match. From here on in, it's only a matter of time. And credit should be given to Tom Latham, the way he handled these bowlers, the way he captained the side, the way he himself batted today. It was all carefully planned. Time and again, New Zealand have been India's thorn. In the shortest format of the game, especially in T20 internationals, they have defeated us. Also in 50 over cricket, who can forget the semi-finals of the World Cup where they beat us in a very close game. And now in Test arena as well, they are continuing that form. They have planned meticulously against the Indian batting and bowling lineup. When India were bowling, sorry, look at the amount of sweeps and reverse sweeps that the Kiwis played. They never allowed the Indian bowling lineup to settle. Tom Latham, Will Young, Devon Conway, everyone who came into bat, they were all playing the sweeps and the reverse sweeps. Ravi Ashwin and Ravindra Jadeja, they were going for more than 4.5 runs per over on a turning track, and the pitch didn't have any demons in them. It was all proper batting from the Kiwis and very poor bowling from the Indians. On the second day of a test match, the Indian cricket team are virtually out of the series. India boasts of a very proud home record. They don't usually get defeated at home. But in this series, somehow, New Zealand have found it rather easy to get the better of India. They have outclassed them in all three departments: batting, bowling, and fielding. It has not been even close. The New Zealand batting against spin has been far better, far superior than the Indian batting display against spin. The Indian bowlers were not able to put a dent in the New Zealand batting lineup. The Kiwis were at home against the spin. For sometimes it was so astonishing to see that it was the Kiwis as if they're playing on their home track and not the Indians. Ravi Ashwin looked remarkably poor in this test match, and Ravindra Jadeja as well. they got dominated in this test match. And when you are so far behind the game, when nothing is going your way, things like this are bound to happen. For India, the problem lies not in their bowling, it's in the batting department. And time and again, their batting has let them down in close matches like these. Today was a good batting day. In the subcontinent, usually days 2 and days 3 are the best days for batting. And India collapsed in the first session. They lost 6 wickets in that first session when the ball was hardly turning. Mitchell Santner, Glenn Phillips were the main destroyers. And look at the batting. The lower order for India couldn't hang around with Washington Sundar. Everyone tried to play their shots and lost their wicket. Unlike the New Zealanders who showed application. This has been a criticism for Team India because their lower order doesn't necessarily tend to spend time on the wicket. Even when the team is in trouble, even the tail enders should at least try to put some value on their wicket. But somehow the Indian tail never wags. They always throw their wickets away. Even today, when they were 142 for 8 wickets, Akash defeated 6 of Mitchell Santner. And he got bowled of the very next delivery. Why go for such extravagant shots when you have a batsman at the other end? Try and hang around for them so that he might be able to score some runs. But no, the Indian batting has dominated in this test. It has been difficult to watch really because India do not exactly get dominated this badly in their home conditions. Not in the recent memory have they been defeated in every facet of the game so badly. Gautam Gambhir, who's taking the reins of the Indian coach, needs to look at this very carefully because India is going through a transitional phase right now. In the next 2 years, some of their top players are going to retire. And it will take time to rebuild, it will take time for the gap to fill up. The likes of Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma have maximum 1 and 2 years remaining in their international careers. And going by their form at the current moment, it is becoming more and more difficult for the selectors to select them in the test arena. Virat has become a shadow of the cricketer in the test arena that he once was. 4 years ago, he was averaging in the mid 50s, and now he's averaging 48. So that's a huge drop. That's a huge drop for a top caliber player like Virat Kohli. And now, India are on the brink of defeat. In the second day of the second test match, it's all but over for Team India. You can't chase around 300 or 350 runs on the fourth innings in India on spinning tracks. It's absolutely impossible. Plus, the Achilles heel of the Indian batting right now is spin bowling, especially left arm spin bowling. They have their own problems against spin. They do not know how to play it, whether to attack or to defend. There is no specific planning against the left arm spinner. New Zealand have 2 left arm spinners, and one of them, Mitchell Santner, picked up 7 wickets in the first innings. Ijaz Patel, the premier spinner, has been very poor in both the test matches. But the bowlers who have bowled around him have compensated for that. It is a mystery why Mitchell Santner didn't play in the first test. Had he played in the first test, India would have struggled even more because the kind of bowling that he displayed in the first innings over there, it must have been some injury concerns as to why he didn't play in the first, because he has to be a certainty. He's a far better bowler than Ijaz Patel is. India are on the brink of suffering their first home defeat in almost 11 years. No team can remain undefeated at home forever. But India had this proud heritage of being almost unbeatable at home. The last team to beat India in India were England, and it was quite some time ago. Those heroics of Kevin Peterson, those heroics of Graham Swan and Monty Panesar couldn't be forgotten, and that was 10 years ago. Since then, India have become virtually impossible. India have won a record almost 17 or 18 series at home, and they are on the verge of conceding defeat. What's most problematic about this defeat is that there hasn't been any sort of resistance. That's the only sad part. You might lose at home, but you should absolutely play to your potential and then lose. Fight and then lose. But there wasn't any fight. There wasn't any resistance among this Indian batting lineup. And in the second innings as well, they will crumble again because they are kind of shell shocked after being bowled out for 46 in the first test. They are kind of shell shocked, and three times they have collapsed. Three times. It hasn't happened once. Three times in 3 innings, the Indian batting lineup have collapsed. And in one of them innings, they were bowled for 46, their lowest ever total at home. It's clear that the scars are still there. They haven't recovered. And New Zealand are rubbing it in. Let me know in the comment section what you feel. Can India make a comeback into the test match? It seems highly unlikely. But if they can do it, it has to be some kind of miracle. There is no rain forecast for this test match, so nothing can save them. They have been the poor team and they have to suffer the consequences. For those watching, if you like the content, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel.